good morning. This is Debbie Heiser with Faith-Infused Leadership with Meredith Banka today. And we're going to switch roles just a little bit. And I'm going to talk to Meredith about leadership and what her theories are. So Meredith, thank you for being willing to switch roles today.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun. So Meredith, tell us a little bit about what you do in a leadership realm.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've been in leadership in 3 different categories of business, actually. So previously, I was an executive team member for a publicly held company. I ran a marketing department. So I did that for about 13 years. So I definitely got my dose of leadership and development and coming up through the ranks in that environment. And then I'm also on the leadership team of a local nonprofit here in Spokane, Washington, where I'm from. And then the third way that I work in leadership is that I actually run a home-based business that works with a team of people who are also running home-based businesses. So I have the opportunity to help them, mentor them, and lead them through the development of their own business as an entrepreneur.
Well, that's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about what got you into the nonprofit work.
Yeah, well, what got me into the nonprofit work is I have a mantra that I live by every day that's massive giving, massive living. So a few years ago, I was asked by someone, at what point am I feeling like I'm at my highest vibration? Like, where do I feel like energetically I'm really living what it is that I was honestly brought here to live? And I said, it's a simple answer for me. It's exactly when I know that I'm doing work in the service of other people. And so that for me is kind of my highest vibe. And I think leadership plays into that because leadership gives me the chance to really help people move forward in their own path and their own journey. But not everybody is even exposed to good leadership. And that's what attracted me to the nonprofit, to be able to do work that would impact people who really need our help most. And so the work I chose to do was around women and children who are really the most at risk in our community.
Wow, that's great. And you talked a little bit about kind of getting into that, looking at serving people. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, a really interesting topic because really anything we do, if you turn the lens to look at it as how can I be of service to people, whether it's in a consulting role, a leadership coach, whether it's a home-based business and a nonprofit, that really, for me anyway, changes how I look at what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Have you had some experience with that as you've had that mantra?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you enter into something and you think, these are the reasons that I'm going to be doing it. These are the things that I can get out of it. And we're all human. So of course we think of things that way. We enter into situations knowing that there's something that's going to benefit us. But when you find yourself seeing and being motivated by the impacts of the work that you're having and recognizing that that's so much greater than what you are, that to me is then ultimately when I get the most out of it. So it's funny how it really cycles back around. So, I mean, I can think of times in leadership where it gets a little gritty, in particular in the nonprofit world, because everyone is volunteering. Everyone is giving of their time in order to be there, but we have really important work to do. So you can't bring your own desires to the table first. You have to stay in alignment with those it is that you're serving. And recognize that things are going to move in the direction that they need to because of that united desire to impact really the people that you're trying to help.
Yeah, a united vision, right, to help those folks. So, yeah.
Sure.
And so tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind, your home-based business and how you got turned on to that, because you are a passionate person.
Yes.
So you have to have passion. I know that about Meredith just from working with her and becoming friends with her, that you have to have a passion about what you do. And so you are pretty passionate about this home-based business. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm really passionate about it. I left the executive world after the birth of our son. So that was about 7 years ago. I had a very complicated health history, and having another child come into our family, actually through an open adoption after years of issues with fertility and all sorts of things, was just truly a blessing. And although I went back to work, I tell people all the time, I went back into that work environment and it was like I was Charlie Brown and everybody at work was Charlie Brown's parents. So I no longer could understand the language. They were talking to me and I was just like, I don't know what you're saying.
Wah, 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 wah,
wah. And I just no longer had it in me to be there. And it honestly scared me a little bit, but I'm really, because I had been there so long and loved my job and loved what I did. And to no longer feel like that was my home was a bit unsettling. But then I would go home at night and I would hold this little baby who had been, you know, literally dropped into our lives. And I knew that that's where I needed to be. And so I didn't do anything for a while, other than, you know, be a mom to an infant. And at that time, a 6-year-old and a wife and, you know, a community volunteer and all those things. But I didn't have a job, if you will. And that gave me some time to really think about what it was I wanted to do. And as time went on, the thing that I started to miss the most was leading, helping people to achieve goals, talking to them about their vision, talking to them about their life, understanding how I could help them move forward. And at the same time, I was having some similar experiences. I was teaching some art classes, because funny enough, my degree and background is actually in art, at my daughter's elementary school. And I started to notice these patterns. So all of the moms were the same moms at every Halloween party, Christmas party, Valentine's Day party, Veterans Day assembly. Like if there was something, it was the same core group of moms. And so we started to get to know each other. And it turns out most of them were self-employed. Not all, but most. Some of them were stay-at-home moms. Some of them worked for colleges or universities, but most did not, if any, work in traditional jobs or traditional corporate careers. Mm. And it really struck me because I was that corporate mom who there was no way that I could have carved time out to be at school volunteering ever, right? Ever. I was missing that part. And I didn't want to miss it, but I was missing it. At the same time, personally, at that point, I was missing the leadership opportunity. And I had this complicated health history where I had eventually gone and sought naturopathic help and been able to get a, you know, pretty significant autoimmune disease in control and all sorts of things, right? So I had this like kind of trifecta of things that had shown up in my life. And I thought to myself, you know, there's going to be a time, my husband and I made a lot of changes for me to walk away from an executive career, but we knew that there would need to be a time for me to earn money. We knew that there would be a time for me to contribute to our family's bottom line again. And so by finding a home-based business in the network marketing industry that allowed me to build an income from home, to impact other women and help them be able to do the same thing, that addressed my complicated health history with products that actually work, and that gave me a chance to lead people and help them find really their true self and their true vision as a part of the work that we do together, it became the absolute perfect storm. And so as Marshall, that's our little boy, as he entered into kindergarten, that gave me the chance to really step into this business from a full-time perspective, and be able to build something that I'm really pretty proud of. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Meredith. And what's interesting is as you were talking, I was thinking about the Yin and Yang Theory, right? That in relationship to what we were talking about in service to people, because your whys, you know, I talk a lot about spark your passion and this passion tool of figuring out why you're wanting to do something and get to the heart of that. Your why, you know, ultimately you knew you would need to bring some money back into the house, but that's not the main reason or the motivation of what you're doing. It's really then in service to other people. And really you have two sets of clients. You have the service that you're doing to help other women in those same similar situations earn some income, have some leadership potential lived out and be able to lead other people, but then also be able to serve other people with some of the products that your home-based business sells. And me being one of them, you know, fantastic vitamins, by the way, a little plug there. Oh, my camera fell.
This is what happens when Debbie's the host.
Yes, exactly. Holy cow. That was strange. I've never had that happen before. But anyway, you know, so to me, that led me to think, wow, this is kind of cool because it shows you have your whys and it's a healthy way to have that, but also you have to look at, and I think that's so many times what all these books are missing these days is what are we in service to? It's not just about what we're going to get out of it, but it's really about the law of abundance. right?
Oh,
Talk about is
so
your mantra.
yeah, so much conversation about that, right? Where it's like, I don't have to do anything, really. I mean, my husband and I own a small business here in Spokane. It's been very successful. We're very blessed by that. We've had, a series of fortunate events, I like to say. And so I don't have to work, right? However, I feel like, and I've had this conversation with our daughter, she's 13, where we switched her to a school that was academically much more challenging to the school that she was in. And I swear I will get to my point in a second. But she went and she realized at the beginning of 5th grade, was she was entered into this school, that she was not the smartest 5th grader in the world. And she looked at me and she said, but Mom, like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to have to work that hard. And I thought to myself, wow, I need to switch something from a parenting perspective right away. And I said to her, you know what? You have been given so many gifts. And it is my job as your mom to make sure that you're in an environment where those gifts can be maximized. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like as a parent, I can say something to my child that I am not also living myself.
Absolutely.
Right. And so then I thought to myself, I have been given a lot of gifts. And who am I to not maximize those gifts? But I'm not interested in maximizing them for my own benefit. I'm interested in maximizing them for the benefit of the people that I know that they can impact. Because there's no rhyme or reason to why I got the gift that I got, or you got the gift that you got. Well, we all have these different and unique gifts, but where there is reason to me is that we help each other to maximize those gifts, because then that is when energetically, right, we're all at that point that we're doing the most good and maximizing a relatively short life that we have here. So I happen to have found a way to do that through running a home-based business that helps people to live healthier lives, make healthier choices, because I don't think you can be the leader you want to be. I don't think you can be the parent you want to be if you don't feel good in your body. Yeah. And so I want to help people to do that in a simple and natural way. But through that work with our team, we also find that we get into tons of conversations around mindset. And honestly, that was one of the most intriguing things about this industry to me that I missed in the corporate life. I was never asked, and it's funny, we're just coming off of this show with Ross, and he said the same thing. How many times in a corporate world has somebody sat across from you and said to you, Debbie, what is it you really want out of your life? What is it you really want? And as an employee, we're afraid to answer that question because it might not be at that job. The thing we want might not be there. That job might be a means to an end. And so if we're real honest and we say, well, actually what I want is this, then all of a sudden maybe, we're no longer going to be needed. Yeah. But right now, temporarily, we need that paycheck.
Absolutely. Right? And Meredith, it's interesting. It's interesting that you bring that up, because I have had so many conversations, and even with myself, to say we focus so much on what we don't want, and that manifests. Yes. Versus what do we want? And that can be a love relationship, that can be a relationship with your kids, it can be your work, your vocation. It could be, what do you want when you turn 50? What is it, like describing that then helps that vibration go up. And I have to ask you, this is really random, but do you use a planner?
Oh, for sure. It's right here.
Do you use the Law of Attraction planner?
I don't use the Law of Attraction planner. I have used the Law of Attraction planner in the past, but my planner for this year, which I'm already using because it's got December in it and I fell in love with it, it was given to me by my mentor. So it's not fantastic. The Law of Attraction. I've used the Law of Attraction planner and I've used the Passion planner. That's another really good one.
Yeah, I've actually used the Passion planner for a long time, and I decided to make a switch after 5 years. I thought I need something to kind of spark it a little bit more. So I am just now in January getting ready to do the Law of Attraction. So talking about vibrations. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean, we wanted to turn around the episode a little bit today because, here we've been hosting these for quite some time, and sometimes I get to chime in with a thing or two, but Debbie said, well, why don't I interview you today? And I thought, okay, hey, why not? Because we're all leaders in our own right. Absolutely. And we all have the opportunity to impact other people positively or negatively each day. And so thanks for for letting me share a little bit about what I do and the philosophies that I try to bring to that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Meredith. And I would say too that if you want to learn a little bit more about Faith-Infused Leadership or about Three Vines Consulting, you can go out to www.3v, as in Victor, consulting.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as we are now on iTunes. So I hope everybody has clear vision for 2020. I know I'm kind of a dork, but I think that's kind of fun to say because 2020 vision. So, and Meredith, thank you.
Like a Barbara Walters vibe to it.
And Meredith, thank you so much for letting us turn the tables and ask you about your leadership. So
absolutely, my pleasure.
I hope
so for this episode of Faith-Infused Leadership, I'm Meredith, your co-host.
This is Debbie signing off.
See you the next time.